My mentor at the time says, my guy, you need to start something. You are in South Africa, the economy is dire, anything can happen. So you have to start something, not only for yourself, but for those around you. Alright? And in 2016, we start the social media page. You have no clue what to do. Right? We're starting a social media page. At the back of our mind, we're going to motivate entrepreneurs. We're going to be the next Forbes, right? 2016 goes on, and the social media page picks up. However, now we need to find a way to make money, right? Do the internship, you find that we actually don't do well when we're working under the man, right? And while we're working, we decide, let's take the social media page and turn it into a company. Awesome. Fast forward to 2020, we grow a team of 8 people that are part of Successful Journals. We register it as a company. Boom, COVID hit.
Yeah.
Like, really COVID.
Yeah.
Anyways, we realized that during COVID, there's actually tools that we can use. These tools are going to enable us to not only do what we're doing locally, but internationally, right? Things such as Zoom. Zoom is a typical example of connecting with someone that's in Australia, for example, or in Abu Dhabi. Sharing a story and telling them what you do is a perfect way for them to tell you what they do. In exchange, not only are you exchanging knowledge, but creating a network. Alright, so Successful Journals then grows into a media production company. We focus on a digital wealth magazine where we tell the stories of entrepreneurs, philanthropists, and people from different walks of life in Africa, from an African lens. Secondly, we then create what we call developing content, right? Because each and every business has a story to tell. Each and every philanthropist has a story to tell. Now, how do we then turn that story into a currency? How do we make money? And how do we create a social impact? Finding value in what we do. I heard amazing businesses today, and I've heard amazing stories today. It's encouraging, and it gives us hope. It says a lot about where we are, who we are as a nation, and where we're going. So, can everyone give themselves a round of applause? So we're going to be talking about finding value in what we do, but more importantly, creating, defining, refining it if you already have it, so that we're able to close clients, investors, using the distribution channels that we have. By show of hands, how many people are using social media here to get this story across? Everyone.
Yeah, we hooked.
Is there a particular channel that we focus on, or we focus on every social network that is? Anyone else? Instagram. Instagram. Alright. Anyone else? LinkedIn.
WhatsApp for business.
WhatsApp for business.
Yeah.
Awesome. YouTube. Cool. Alright, and how's that working?
I was in different social, Instagram and etc. And then I started doing little videos on YouTube. And actually, I focused on what was most of service, just what is going to be supportive. It's like it's called the Souls Emergency Kit. So little tips for troubling times. And that's what I focus on. I just do little videos on that.
Fantastic. Thank you so much for sharing. So then, Instagram?
Lots of learning curve.
I did a lot of trials and errors, especially like paid ads and stuff. To me, it didn't work out very well because I still didn't understand my audience.
mentioned target audience.
The WhatsApp for business for me, I linked up my Facebook page and also like my Instagram to WhatsApp for business. So to make it simple for me, if I want to share like content on all three platforms, so I have like an option like, do I want this to go on Instagram or do I want this to go WhatsApp plus Facebook? So I'm trying to simplify the admin work. I don't enjoy that admin.
It's not that much, but LinkedIn, like for me, it helped me to connect with funders because they are the business people. They just straightforward. So it's worked for me because I'm connecting with more people who I need in terms of where the money can come from.
Fantastic. All right. I think the most important thing, just listening from each and everyone that you spoke right now, is not only finding the value, but how do we create the value? What is it that we have that our customers want? What is it that we have that investors want? And these are the questions that we will be answering today. Right. What we have here is a value proposition canvas. You can take notes, but it's going to be available on the website, and we're going to share it with the team. All right. So the most important thing is the keyword segment. Right. So we're defining everything into what we call a customer segment. Right. We have business models, I assume, right?
Yes.
All right. Now, a business model is incomplete without a value proposition. Because with the business model itself, for it to work, it has to have value. We're going to start here by customer segments. All right. By a show of hands, who loves doing market research? Is that true? Really? You love doing market research? Guys, I think I believe everyone else. Alright, so market research can be a daunting task. However, once you do it right, your business can take off. Alright. Market research, we have what we call the customer jobs. Right? Under customer jobs is understanding what the customer wants to be done. What is it that they want your business to do for them? By understanding the customer jobs, you then understand their pains, the difficulties they go through, what is annoying them, what is messing up their emotion. By understanding their pains, you then get a description of what their gains are, what they want to achieve. Customer segments comes in pretty well with us creating the value proposition. Finding value in what you do, defining it, refining it, will change the game. Sure. Can I ask you to you, or what do you do? Or what do you do, or how do you define customers?
Basically, I'm in the compliance space, working with social entrepreneurs by, making their business compliant in terms of tax and accounting, because my background is accounting and accountant by profession and a tax practitioner. So compliance and making sure that the paperwork is all in order, so that the social entrepreneurs, if they need tax compliance status for that particular party, they are not struggling, with paperwork, making them for them to be easy to run their organization and their business, knowing that their paperwork is sorted and
Okay. So each and every business needs to be compliant. But how do you segment it? Who is it for?
well, for businesses, specifically, and organizations, as well as individuals as well, because they've got tax returns to be submitted, and I saw SMS is circulating from SARS now that people are being given 10 days if they do not submit, and then SARS is going to take action. So both companies and individuals.
So it's the best time to be making money here.
Yes.
Right, sure.
Me?
Teresa, yeah.
Okay. We have 3 initiatives, and so maybe let me talk about the first one. And this came from over a decade of working on the same thing, and it just didn't make money, and it didn't make money until finally I found a model that makes money. So basically, I'm just going to give you an overview of 3 initiatives. So we do community conversations. From that, we publish a magazine. So in those community conversations, they happen in townships, in rural areas, and poor areas. And we learn on the ground what the issues are that people struggle with, and then we publish a magazine. In the magazine, we used to put a little resource box at the end of each article. So if the article was about, orphans, for instance, we would have information about how to make a will, how to make sure that your kids are safe if you know that you're going to die, and so on and so forth. And the feedback that we got, this was the most phenomenal thing that people had seen because it's so useful. And so we started putting those little resource boxes at the end of the magazine, and it grew and it grew and it grew until it was clear it needed to become a book. So this is the book. It's a 368-page resource directory. I'm sorry, I'm not telling you about all of this, but those are the 3 initiatives. With this one, the book is for sale for 375 Rand. NPOs and social entrepreneurs can list in here completely free of charge. So, excuse me, our website is down, unfortunately. Otherwise, I'd say go to southafricanconversations.co.za, and if you go to directory, you can go and fill in the form and list your organization. I've been struggling since last night to get somebody to help us get the website up. I don't know how long it's going to take. We can't figure out what has happened. So, no. I've got people working on it already, but they haven't found the solution. So I just want to say, I want to give you my example of how we struggled with the first one, the community conversations. So when we started that, I would literally, and people from my company, we're a for-profit company, would pack a boot full of food, and we'd make arrangements beforehand. We're going to go into Soweto and talk, meet at the Chawelo Center, for instance, community center, and we want to talk about people going to jail or about teen pregnancies or whatever the issues are, okay? And it cost us a lot of money, but we learned a lot that informed the magazine. So we turned that into something that makes money for the people who participate. It has made this into a much bigger thing. So the community conversations now, we just started because we got completely shut down by COVID. The only thing that was going was putting this thing together. But the community conversations are now, we get corporate sponsors who say, or we don't call them sponsors, we call them corporate advertising partners. And we say, all right, it's 300 Rand per participant at an event. It's 300 Rand per participant at an event. And on average, we have about 30 people at an event. So it would be 9,000 Rand for that. But what they get in exchange for that 9,000 Rand is an opportunity to put their banners up, to hand out product samples, to hand out educational material. They have 5 minutes during which they can speak and do a presentation. A video is also shot of the event, so they accidentally are displayed on the video wherever it's going to live, on YouTube or wherever we send it to. And the beauty of this is we've now expanded so it's become very big. The facilitator makes money, the videographer makes money, the security guards make money. So everybody makes a little bit of money, and we make a little bit of money out of that too.
I've just got a question, but thank you so much, Teresa. But I'm gonna ask maybe during break time, when we have a break, please come and connect with us so we can give all of those resources and all of the information to you. Is it fine? Thanks, yeah.
your value proposition. All right. So when it comes to finding the value, you already mentioned customer segment, being able to segment everything into an understandable way. All right. By understanding the customer, by doing your market research, you then are able to create a product. Right? You can start with a minimum viable product, MVP. Right? So a minimum viable product is creating products that are tailored for the customers. Then finding one particular product that is able to work, or service that is able to work. Right? By that particular product or service working, you then are able to get these two things. One, a pain reliever. A pain reliever, I'll give you an example. I walk out here, I get a headache, and I go to Pick and Pay, for example. I have a 150 rupee. I get to Pick and Pay, I'm trying to buy a grandpa. And they're like, nah, you have to buy the whole pack. I walk down the street, there's a spaza shop. I have a 150. They sell sachets. That's a pain reliever. Literally and figuratively. I'll give you an example with Uber. Uber's pain relief is being able to track where your driver is. If you're booking for someone else, there's safety involved. That's a pain relief. How is your business or your organization relieving the pain of the customer? The gains. The gains is how your product enhances or creates benefits for your customers. By being able to find the gains, by being able to introduce the gains, more people will come to you. Remember, having a business but having cheap prices is not necessarily a gain if it's working against your company. Because if the customer finds someone else who has a cheaper price, what's stopping them from going there? That means you don't have a business. Being able to offer quality, being able to have proper pricing plays a key role in your company not only growing its customers, not only attracting its investors, but scaling. Netflix's gain is you pay 200 rand, you have a month to watch as many movies as you want. They could say 400, they could say 500. But the market that they're in doesn't necessarily allow you to. There's Hulu, there's East TV, there's Showmax. But Netflix stuck to it. And people are still using it. It's one of the biggest companies in the world. Uber owns no taxi, but they're the biggest transportation company in the world. How did they find their value? Customer segments, creating value for their customers.
Airbnb rates houses and they don't owe any.
Exactly, 100%. I was using Airbnb 2 weeks ago. They own no houses, but they have one of the biggest property gains in the world. By show of hands, is there anyone that's in the agriculture industry? All right, what do you do, Susie? Poultry farming. And how's that been?
Sorry?
How has that been? Right.
It's difficult. It's very difficult, very challenging. But yeah, it's
All right. Perfect timing. Perfect timing for it. We need food every day.
This is supposed to be booming, yeah?
Sure. I've just got a question for you. You talk about customer, and often we see from a business perspective that customer is the person who's paying, but from a non-profit perspective, often the customer is the person who's receiving the services that we're providing. In this, the beneficiary. In this, the customer. Talk about who you're saying is the customer in this value proposition.
All right, fantastic. Thank you. That's a great question. All right. I was actually making an example here earlier on. We have two things, right? We have a user, and then we have the beneficiary. The user is the person that attracts or pulls the attention to whatever you do. So in our example, with Successful Journeys, we a media company. We have a digital wealth magazine, and we have a contents page where we share stories of entrepreneurs and philanthropists. The stories are free, right? You can come to the website to read the stories. That's the crowd pulling, right? While you're on the website, you start to engage with the website. You go to the advertising page where we have the services and products. That's where the customers, that's where we turn the user or the lead into a customer. So for non-profits, where they actually have this right is not only engaging with people on the ground, not only being able to help the people on the ground, but to be able to work with different partners, different corporates, different government sectors. Right? Not sure if I answered the question. All right.
I guess in the social enterprises we're setting up, don't always think about the customer beneficiary, think about the customer, the person who's going to be paying the money, if this is sustainable. And that's kind of how we use it.
Right. Anyone else like to add? We're good? Fantastic. All right. We have a couple of categories, right, that help us to determine our value proposition. Majority of the time, we always focus on one. But it's always good to be open, right? The functionality of your product or service. How will the person receiving it help them to save time or to save money? Right? Emotionally, will it make them feel better? Will it relieve them of their pain? Life-changing. Will it change their life for the better? If you're in the education sector, for example, the person who is receiving the product or the services that you are sharing, will it help them to gain a promotion in their workplace? Life-changing. And then social impact. Will it make the person receiving it feel good about themselves? Will it make the community a better place? These are the type of questions we need to ask ourselves. Right, before we move on, you clear? Am I moving too fast? All good? Awesome stuff. All right, now maintaining a viable startup. Maintaining a viable non-profit. How are we then attracting investors? About a year ago, we were at the Innovation City for an event called Tinder for Business. So it's like Tinder, but for businesses.
Tinder or Tinder?
Tinder. Right. So during this event, you have 4 minutes to pitch your idea to a room full of investors, right? Then you have 30 seconds to roam around, right? There's about 30 investors in this room. It's actually happening again later on today. There's about 30 investors in this room, and you have 4 minutes to pitch your idea, right? While you're there, you can only be chosen by the investors that see value in what you do, right? So then, in an hour, you can see 2 investors, you can see 13 investors, you can see 15 investors, depending if they see value in what you do, right? Now we're walking, and we attracted 2 people, right? We attracted Alan Gray, and we attracted Iowa, which then we turned into a story for another day. And while we're walking, we're done, but we still have 13 minutes to go, so we might as well mingle because there's money in it, right? We're walking, we bump into this one investor called Wayne from Pantanga Investments, right? Now his portfolio is $10 million and above, and we were nowhere near that. But our passion for what we're doing our consistency with what we're doing, our attitude towards him, to speaking to him, to engaging with him, is what attracted him, or attracted us to him. Right? So with Wayne, he said to us that, listen, my portfolio doesn't have an appetite for what you're doing right now. However, I know people in the investing space that invest in media. He then created a network. My point with this is how and where you do what you do is not only important, but networking. Being able to network, being able to talk or to share your business or your services in less than 30 seconds can play a key role. All right. There's 4 things that investors look for. Solution. Is there a real problem that you're solving? Is your startup having less risk? Is your NPO helping for a bigger picture, for a better community? And then market opportunity. How big is the market? And what share are you taking in the market? Are you taking up space? What is the competition like? How do you differentiate yourself from the competition? If you're doing the same thing, why is it that the investor should choose you? Leadership. The leadership behind the business, the leadership behind the nonprofit. How is the team? COVID can hit right now again. How's the team going to react? How will you keep the boat afloat? Attractive terms. Your negotiation, is it attractive enough? You're giving 2%, or you're not. You're giving 25%, or you're not. Are you willing to say yes, maybe, no? No is no. They want to see confidence in you.
So, before we continue, is there anybody that at this stage of the presentation have any specific questions that you would like to pose to you? We've got one question there. Can I see anybody else? Teresa and then Mary. Okay, thank you. Bradley, lovely. Thank you. So we've got 4 questions. We can start with you.
Hi everybody. Sorry, just wanted to find out because I'm quite confused. I want to understand if we're talking about social entrepreneurship or social enterprise, or are we talking about normal business in terms of building a startup? Because I quite see a bit of confusion. If you could just highlight that.
So it applies to both. It applies to both.
Okay. I'm sorry, but I'm actually running a social enterprise as well. Okay. And I do train social entrepreneurs. And there's a very big difference when it comes to social entrepreneurship and building a startup. So I don't know. Well, I'm still getting too much value, yeah, as you're explaining. I'm still learning a lot. But I'm just highlighting that they are all 2 different worlds and they have 2 different approaches. So we can't call some social enterprise or elaborate on social entrepreneurship as if we're elaborating for a normal small business, or a startup, because they don't have the same model and they don't go to the same. Okay. So, and also when it comes to investors, social enterprise don't get investors. Social enterprise gets sponsors and or gets partners. Okay, so those are things that I think we should look into it and see how best we can approach that, or maybe the approach is good. You guys are good. I appreciate the content. Maybe the terms, that needs to be reviewed. But I'm honored to be here. Just that. Thank you so much.
I just wanted to know when and how does one participate in an event where you can present to potential investors?
Can you repeat that?
When and how? Where can one participate in an event where you can present to investors?
All right, I'll share the link.
And I think that social entrepreneurship also, I mean, if it is a company, you can attract investors. Yeah.
Yeah, we actually got an investor for the Tyson Credit Foundation.
Okay.
Mary and then Bethany.
I was going to ask where one finds the events, and I actually work with Teresa and maybe and then how does one evaluate whether one participates in a particular conference event in terms of whether it's going to be useful or time wasting? Yeah, for the, I guess, what kinds of investors we see.
Fantastic, thank you for that. Before I answer, there's another question.
So can we just give Bethany and then...
I had the same question as Lucy and it was
So it's
answered.
covered.
Thank you.
Yeah. Thank you. People?
I can see that you mentioned the attractive terms, and I wanted to ask if, like for instance, I watch a lot of, I watch Shark Tank, right? And under Shark Tank, they talk about the KPIs and stuff, like the investors, they also look for KPIs, like the cost margins, the customer acquisition costs and stuff. So I want to know from you if that is part of the attractive terms.
Yeah. Answer the man. When it comes to finding the events, I think Social Enterprise Academy also has a couple of events in Chester. I think the Social Enterprise Academy also has a couple of social events that take place there.
Yeah, so Social Enterprise Academy, maybe? Lucy. So obviously, I think we came a bit later. So, Social Enterprise Academy, we obviously provide our own events, that's relevant to social enterprises, but also what other opportunities are out there in the world of social entrepreneurship, social enterprises. And that is the main goal for the Social Enterprise Connection, to do that connection with like-minded people. Someone in Cape Town could have this massive issue with, running her social entrepreneurship. The person in Mpumalanga maybe has the same issue, and that's how they can connect. That's how we learn, from one another. And I think it's critical that what we're trying to do here is to achieve a common goal, and we can only do that if we collaborate with one another. So I think just to answer your question is that I think we do a lot of these type of events, and I think the event is relevant to social entrepreneurship. So
Awesome, thank you for that. And just to add to that, we have a newsletter that we share weekly. In the newsletter, we share events not only for corporates but for social entrepreneurs as well. It's available on the website. I'll have a QR code at the end where you'll be able to download the presentation or to sign up for the newsletter. Alright. And thanks again for
Ask another last question. Because I see you guys are a major company, right? Okay, so you're trading on social entrepreneurship. But my question is, to what extent is your media company a social enterprise?
great question, and thanks again for the question. So we have two layers, right? The media production as well as the media training. That's where the social aspect of it comes in. That's where the sponsorships and the grants come in, right? So for instance, that in itself is also a partner with NISA and Credit Foundations, right? We work with 200 informal traders. We work with about 53 social entrepreneurs to refine their value proposition. And from the 53, I think about 27 or 28 were able to not only get grants, but to attract investors as well.
Okay, I understand. Thank you very much for that. But your answer is the same thing as if I ask someone from Standard Bank and ask to what extent is Standard Bank enterprise? And they will tell me because we provide grants to entrepreneurs. That doesn't make sense. So entrepreneurship is a whole different world.
Yeah, I agree.
So from that perspective.
Thanks again for that. Can I just add to that? So with Standard Bank in particular, they have an enterprise social development as well, right? Which we're also a part of. I think it's one of the best ways to not only get financing, but to get the knowledge as well. Mr. Rano.
Can the gentleman help us with the explanation of what it is?
Sure.
Please. Can we hear it from you?
Yes.
What is the social enterprise?
Good? Would you like to go for like a minute?
Well, I'm not here for that. We're just engaging.
Sure.
So if you want to know more about that, please we can engage after the session.
So can I just interject quickly? So what I'm going to encourage you to do is to have those discussions and a little bit more information afterwards, right? We've got 5 more minutes for the section of our program, so we're going to ask our guest speakers to either take other few more questions and continue his talk, and then that's part of the session will be concluded, so that we can carry on with the rest of the program. Is everybody okay with that?
Yes.
Right, if there's anything specifically related to some questions, we're going to have a lot of time during the break, lunchtime, and we're going to have a networking activity as well after this. Is it okay? Okay, lovely. Thank you.
So, just before we go, I think it's important that we also recognize that the expression of social entrepreneurship happens in many different ways. It's not one single way that you do it. The important thing is that we start off with a clear understanding that we want to make a difference. Yeah? So for those people that we do training, and we can learn from stories of others in terms of how they do that. And then to find something we can train, something we can and to combine those two. And you can find many ways of expressing that. So there's not one single way of defining it. So here's one example. Each of our examples of a social enterprise will be different.
Absolutely.
All right. So when it comes to the distribution channels, just in quick, I'll be brief for the respective time. There's a couple of distribution channels that we are able to use to not only get our clients on board or investors on board, which come. So when it comes to social media, one of the reasons why I asked earlier on which social media platforms that we use, because not only are we sharing our story there, but we're able to bring the people back to our platform. So it's generating traffic towards could be the website or social media or to an event that we have. And an event like this is a perfect place to be able to network, to engage with people like-minded entrepreneurs, social entrepreneurs and philanthropists. Then you can take it further for coffee tomorrow or next week, and you find synergy on how our organizations can be able to work. All right? And then EDPs, Enterprise Development Programs, which I mentioned with Standard Bank earlier on. So with NISA and Mahela Foundation, what we did earlier on is we helped about 10 young footballers from previously disadvantaged areas to get jobs in teams in the USA. Now how we did that was, not only were we helping their teams and helping them to get these sponsorships, but we enabled them to get the opportunity to go out of their communities to see a broader aspect of the world. Because sometimes we have to think that because we're here, it only happens here. The world is only here. But once we go outside, we then are able to see that actually when I come back, this is what I can implement to help the community grow for the better. actually about it. So if you scan the QR code, the presentation is available on the website, and I'm sure with the team as well.
Thank you.
Well done. Thank you, Lord. I'm going to ask for more questions, but just to say thank you to Longwaba for the talk that he's given us. When we work with young people, and we all was very young here today, aren't we? Right, so I'm going to say give him a hand, and then you speak. Then I'm going to say give him a hand, another hand, and then you're going to do that, and then you say ahoy, ahoy. Fine, okay? Give him a hand, another hand, just like that. Right, thank you so much. So, just to conclude, is everybody covered with their questions? Is there any other